Blackberry Priv has arrived, and you might have already heard it's not just one Blackberry, it's the Blackberry because it's the first one with Android operating system. So you have all the apps of Android, the millions of apps here, right over there where you want it. That's the way BlackBerry always had this little problem, that you said, okay, hardware is great, operating system is great, but where are the apps? Because in numbers, their BlackBerry 10 is way below iOS or Android. And now you finally have, let's say the best of both worlds. But in case that you say, okay, BlackBerry, best of both worlds, that's touchscreen, that's Android. I have millions of other devices where you need BlackBerry for. First is, of course, you have lots of features I will show you later, and especially hardware keyboard. That's a BlackBerry privilege, of course, that you say, okay, where's my BlackBerry keyboard? And that's something you will find right here. So that's the trick of the Priv, that you say you have both devices in one, so touchscreen device, and just slide up and you have your typical BlackBerry down here, especially with the typical size and form of the BlackBerries, meaning for the right thumb it's going a little bit to the right and here to the left, and on the upper corner you have it's going a little bit up in the air, so that you really can, even with thick thumbs like mine, you really can feel every single button very precisely, and thus really type very fast with that one, like you know from BlackBerry. That's really, really cool. On the other hand, of course, you have kind of two devices in one, metal here, carbon on that, but nevertheless, it's 192 grams. So you'd say, okay, for a device with 5.4-inch display or 138 millimeters, that's a little bit heavy. Yes, it's true, but again, 2 in 1. So even the size 77 by 147 millimeters and thickness of 9.4 millimeters, it's not the thinnest and not the lightweightest one and not the smallest one. Nothing I would want to have in my tux for the evening, for example, but just for a working device for the day, it's a good compromise. Let me call it like that. Coming to the display. Yes, first of all is, of course, you might have already seen that the edges are curved, like on the, for example, S6 Edge from Samsung, sorry. It's not so much like on the S6 Edge Plus, for example, but just a little bit. But here's BlackBerry did what Samsung missed, because they have special features. First of all, I want to show you, see that white tab over here, it's called Productivity tab, because from here you can swipe in this page. You see here you have your calendar, you have notes and tasks and contacts, for example, and depending on from what you clicked here, you can add, for example, just a new contact right from this. And in case you want to move it, for example, a little bit more up, what was that? Hold it. I'm a little bit too quickly. Hold it like that, for example. Or if you say, I want to have it on the right side, no problem at all. Type here, again, press and hold a little bit down there. And so you go here. So, and way more settings for this one, by the way. This is just one little preview of the features of BlackBerry. And that's really cool with the feeling and the haptics down here on this curved edge. So this is what Samsung should have done right from the start. And you see, BlackBerry can do. Yeah, it can. So, but coming to the hardware, I told you, let me go a little bit closer so that you can see, because we're now coming to a resolution, for example. First of all, it's Super AMOLED, and it's really, for an AMOLED at least, really, really bright. I measured in the middle of the center here from the display, 359 candela per square meter. For OLED, it's really, really bright. And resolution is 1440 by 2560. So we come to a really very high pixel density, to a sharpness of 543 ppi. That's number 3, rank 3, meaning the same level like the LG G4, for example. You see here these texts are not very big and really sharp, and I really love that, especially because you know these, see the blacks over here, for example, these OLED, great contrast, so don't say anything negative about AMOLED displays, they really have their advantages. Yeah, on the other side, you have, of course, with a construction like that, no removable battery, like it's usual nowadays, unfortunately. So this one fixed built-in 3410 milliamps. That's compared to the screen size not so bad. So I did, of course, a early runtime test for the battery. You know, 200 candela video flight mode, and here the Priv made it up to 396 minutes. That's unfortunately 17% below the average. So meaning runtime is a little low. Not really bad, but not too good. So in case, especially if you're a heavy user, and I guess that's the target group of BlackBerry especially, so you might think about how to recharge during the day, I guess. So unfortunately, maybe this is just right at the start. It's the first time BlackBerry Android. Maybe they can fix that and optimize the system to have less power consumption during the next month. I don't know. And by the way, where we are at the battery, the recharging time is not so good too, from 0 to 100% with the charger that's included, just 1.3 ampere, so no turbocharger, like for example the Nexus phones with 3 amp chargers. Here it needed 156 minutes, and that's 9% below the average. Not bad again, but not too good. And where we are on the back side here, you see 18 megapixels camera, a lens from Schneider Kreuznach, so high quality videos in 4K, and especially optical image stabilizer. So face detection for quick autofocus. I hope for really, really great quality of videos and pictures. You have that dual tone flash here, and on the front 2 megapixels, and Snapdragon 808 processor, meaning again the same like in the G4 or Moto X style. You have 6 cores, 1.8 gigahertz and 3 gigabyte of RAM. Internal memory is 32 gigabyte, and you might have already seen over here that you have 2 slots there, one for the SIM card and one for SD card, so you can expand the memory. Net, by the way, after I've updated all pre-installed apps, that's a net memory size of 22 gigabyte. That's the value you should calculate with, 22 gigabyte. And with that, coming to the features. Yeah. Lots of them are just for if you're in a business and you have, for example, Android at work, then you might, for example, just separate everything. First half is private, and the second half is just for business, and they don't have any contract, so that malware, for example, can't jump from one side to the other. That's called BlackBerry Balance, but that's nothing you can use as a private user. The only thing from all this privacy stuff you can use as a private consumer is the BBM, the BlackBerry Messenger. And here it's, yeah, you can simply say it's a WhatsApp but secure, because it's all the same features like in WhatsApp and more, but really from one end to the other secured. It's militarical standards, so it's really safe. At least if I were president or whatever, I wouldn't use, but compared to WhatsApp, it's really kind of safe. I would say BlackBerry knows what they are doing here. Or for example, this one here, it's called DTAG. So meaning you have here device security status, and it's easy to understand what this means. So here you see, oh, I would really have to set a screen lock, of course, because I have just a swipe gesture now, and PIN would be best one. So you have to go here and choose your settings, unless you do not have you're on the green side here with this over there. So this is really simple to use, but nevertheless, it enhances security even for consumers. And there's way more, because if you watch these little icons here with the 3 dots below, This is something special I really love, and I would say, why doesn't do Google on Android something like that? And that's called PopUp Widget. You can, on these icons here, just have a swipe and you will get the pop-up. So that meaning you have the same information. You of course have the widgets here, and you could choose and drag one and drop it over here and go like that. Of course, like you all know, but you see here, it consumes space on the home screens. And if you use those a lot, it's no problem to come to, let's say, 10, 15 home screens, and you're scrolling, and that's no good. And things you do not need, like, for example, weather or clock, you just have the swipe here, see the information, tap somewhere else, and then are back again without consuming so much here on the screens, so much space on the screens. I really love that. Great idea, wonderful. Or, of course, you have know as a BlackBerry user the BlackBerry Hub. That's this thing here. I would say this is kind of the center where everything is going into. If it's private, if it's business, if you have that separate two halves with Android and work, whatever is going in here. You see, BlackBerry Messenger, text messages, all your email and everything you will see here right away with just one swipe, and you will have that always wherever you are, just with this gesture. Everybody who ever used a BlackBerry 10 device will know that and will not miss that ever. I'm quite sure about that, and you will have that, of course, here again under Android. Yeah, and last of all, coming to the mechanical keyboard here, because I really have to show you something I like, because this is not only mechanical, but it's also touch sensitive. For example, you can just, like this one here, websites, whatever, scroll up, down, wherever. And especially if you know, let's go to the Messenger, for example, and go here in, let me delete this, because I want to start clear with the virtual keyboard here. In case you might have, for example, the Z10 or the 30, the touchscreen devices from BlackBerry, you know this one, and especially the swipe features. So meaning he is predicting what would be the next word, and he's learning in case of what you're typing and what you're using. So just have hotel under the H, 4 under the F, and so on. Just swipe up from here, my BlackBerry, whatever, and you see you can type very, very, very quickly. And that is something you now can use exactly the same way with the hardware keyboard here. You see, oh, now I touched it. But before, let me close and let me go like that. I wanted to show this here. You have now 3 thirds here, middle, left, and right. And if you do here that swipe gesture, you will have the same effect like you know it from the virtual keyboard here. Just swipe up and you will get the word that's down here, more than a few weeks. Wonderful. I wanted to say just exactly like that. Or, for example, swipe to the left means delete a word. And, of course, you have shortcuts. So, for example, if you say, I'm not quite sure, let's go to the J, I don't know, whatever. Okay, J is not assigned. Wonderful. That's I wanted to show you. You now can choose, do you want to have a speed dial text message or just open an app? What did I have? A J. Let me look. Do we have anything with J? Of course not. So let's go to the Geekbench benchmark, for example. You now will open just with one long tap on the J, the app, the Geekbench benchmark. And you have the double. So meaning you have short tap and a long tab, and can, of course, always change this. So if we go here to all shortcuts, you will see what you can do, what you have designed already, and change it, by the way, whenever you want to whatever you want to. So highly individual, highly productivity. So that's things from BlackBerry we know, we love, we want, and that's something I really would say, if you are working a lot on the mobile, like me, for example, as a journalist, I'm a lot of traveling, a lot of working if I'm on the way. So this is a device I really would like. But the problem, of course, is the price. It's coming now, second half of November, for here in Germany, Europe, 749 euros. And that's really, really huge, especially if you compare again to the, for example, LG G4, same resolution, same processor, and so on. So that's way cheaper, some $100 less. So you really have to need, not only like or want to have, you really have to need all these features here. I have shown you a Black Messenger and whatever. So this is kind of heavy stuff. So the big question now is, will will BlackBerry be able to find enough people who really need that and want that and are able and wanting to buy the phone for this price? So by the way, some BlackBerry launcher settings I wanted to show you again here in the menu. That's absolutely like stock Android, but just with some features on top here. These BlackBerry, for example. I just wanted to show you at last. I'm sorry for that interrupting here. So let's wait for that, how the BlackBerry Priv will do. I really would hope that BlackBerry will stay in the market. As you can see here again, they really have good ideas. They really can do good software, good hardware. I really would miss them if they won't be on the market. So I really knock on wood that they will stay and that the BlackBerry Priv will do well in the markets globally. So that's now the finish for the BlackBerry Priv. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye.